Hey everyone, welcome back to the new episode of the Dreamers Podcast. Today with me, I have that Gucci bucket hat. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, sure. Hi. My name is Margo, also the Gucci Bucket Hat on Instagram and TikTok. I am a digital online artist. I make fan art, aesthetic art. I draw whatever the hell I want and I share it with my lovely fan base.
Nice. So first off, I gotta ask, Gucci bucket hat. Where does the name come from? Does it come with the song with Future, or somewhere else?
I It's a really funny story. So yeah, it first came from the song that Future was initially gonna release. I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny." So I changed my profile tag on my Instagram, Gucci Bucket Hat, as like a joke. But then people actually started calling me that and started referring to me as that. So I'm like, you know what? I love you guys so much. Screw it. I changed it into my and it's been like that for like 2 years now, and I love it.
Nice. That's kind of a unique way to have gotten your username. But I guess first to kind of start us off, kind of walk us through your story with art, kind of how you got to the point of where you are now.
So, I really first I always loved drawing as a kid, but I didn't really take it as like a big passion until I met my best friend in the whole wide world as a kid, and we would like hang out together all the time and do comics and stories and share our ideas through our art. And I don't know, that just made it like really special to me that I could share my passion with someone else who also loves drawing as much as me and wants to do it with me every day. And that's all we ever really did until I moved to a different province in here in Canada. I was very lost. I still did drawing and stuff, but I was more focused on my mental health since I was diagnosed with ADHD and schoolwork and settling into a new life and trying to figure myself out. And then when the pandemic hit, I mean my sister had a art account before I did, and I was like, "You know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to start doing digital art on Instagram." And I don't know, I was just making art at the time for the account. I was pumping out stuff for the clout and stuff, and I didn't really know what kind of direction I wanted to bring my artistic talent. But that isn't until I just run into like a stream of like aesthetic artists. Like they put like special filters on their art that makes their lot like their art basically looks like a mood board, and it's full of like sparkles and filters, and I just love pretty colors, and I just love seeing like the way that it could be applied to so many different types of fandoms. And I was like, I haven't seen people doing it with rap art, so I started doing that, and I've been doing it ever since the January 2021, and it's been taking me pretty far. And it's crazy to see how much I've grown since January of last year. It's crazy.
Say nice. So yeah, that was one of the first things. I originally followed you on my main account for I don't know, a while back, maybe the beginning of the year, late last year sometime. Just because your art really stood out to me because I mean it really like pops. And yeah, like you said, I've never really seen like rap like that. Maybe I've seen like anime stuff, like kind of cutesy stuff, but like you have, Frank Ocean, The Weeknd, Denzel Curry in that same kind of style. So that was kind of the first thing that kind of drew me to you was that kind of pop style. So I definitely agree with you that it's a really cool thing that you don't see super often. And then you also mentioned moving provinces and stuff. So I wanted to kind of ask, how does Canada, does it play a big role in your artistic style or kind of how you get inspired, or is it just kind of where you're from?
Well, I don't know. I feel very lucky that I live here in Canada and I have such supportive parents that I do with the passions I'm in. I mean, whenever my art gets noticed online, my parents like and I tell them and they get so proud of me. But yeah, I'm just really proud of the country that I'm representing, and I'm just proud of like all of the artistry and all the local talent, because that's something that I find really unique about Canada. Like any major city you go to, there's always like a little art gallery, there's always a little event going on, there's always a music festival. There's just already like so many ways to express art here in Canada, and there's so many people portraying it in different ways possible, and it's just crazy to see the amount of lengths people go to.
Say nice. Um, I'm from Kansas, so it's a little bit different than I'm definitely not from like a larger area and stuff. And there's definitely an art scene around here, and there's cool little festivals or trade shows and stuff. But it's not like a big city where there's concerts and all this different events and fairs like every other weekend. But it is cool, and especially at my college, there's a bunch of really cool artists and stuff. So there is still a local scene here. Um, but then I guess kind of talking about Canada, do you think that's like you want to stay in Canada while you work on your art or different things, or do you think eventually you want to move to America or somewhere else? Or
I don't know. I really like living here. I mean, all my family lives here. I have good friends. There are lots of good opportunities for jobs and stuff that I want to do here. I mean, America definitely intrigues me because that's where I get most of my audience, and a lot of my art friends live in America. So I don't know, maybe some random day I decide to visit them. But I'm not sure what my future holds, and I'm not sure what, because I want to be like, I want to do psychiatry and psychology. So I don't know
Mhm.
where that will lead me exactly. But if the opportunity comes where I can come to America and visit or move a different place or travel, I would definitely be down with it. But for right now, I think I'm okay where I am.
Okay, that's cool. I've had a bunch of internet friends from I mean, from back like 10 years ago when I used to play Minecraft online with people, to even now, I still have a few friends that live up there. So, I mean, I've always definitely wanted to visit. I think it seems like a really nice, cool place. So I definitely want to come check it out sometime. But that's great that you want to stay there. And I thought it was interesting you brought up, I think you said psychiatry. I'm curious how, because a lot of people that I've talked to on the show before, in the future, their goal is to be a musician or a full-time artist or doing stuff. But you said, you just want to be a psychiatrist. So I'm kind of curious as to how far you want to take your art in a sense. Is it something that you always want to kind of have on the side, or is it just something you kind of do for fun? I guess how serious you'll take it in the future with you wanting to go into psychiatry.
It's a very good question, and it really goes to show how consumerism like kind of affects the art scene lately. Because I used to be in a headspace where it's like, I have to do commissions, I have to draw for other people, I have to be drawing constantly. But I was like, there's so many other things I want to do with my life, and there's so many things I want to be interested in. And um for like trying to make, for me at least, being an artist is very difficult, especially online. I can't
Mhm.
tell you the countless times that people DM me asking me for commissions, and then after I ask them, like, "Oh, well, what would you like to get?" They just leave me on red.
Nice, nice.
So I started trying to think of like other options. And psychiatry really hits home with me because I'm just interested with how other humans think and process things with art as well. And it's
Mhm.
just nice to meet different types of people and, learn how people think things and what affects other people's visions of the world. And um, I always kind of seen art as a little hobby of mine, and I think I want to keep it that way. That way, it can be more me instead of me just
Mhm.
pumping out stuff consistently. Instead of
Mhm.
getting something that I'm truly passionate about and something that I really enjoy. So yeah, lately my account hasn't been doing too great because of it, because the algorithm is like, post rails,
Uh-huh.
do all this. And I'm just like, no, I'm gonna keep drawing whatever the hell I want. And it kind of scares my
Mhm.
audience a bit because over time, like there were some points where I experimented like so much and like viciously turn to a new style to the next. It was kind of alarming for them, but personally, I
hmm
don't care too much because I'm happy with the following that I currently have. I'm happy with the position that my art is at right now. I think it's at its peak, and I'm just gonna keep getting better from here. And I just like keeping it as a cute little hobby of mine, nothing too crazy.
Sweet. I think that was very well said. How you kind of said that, you kind of felt pressured from the algorithm because, yeah, I mean, everybody that posts knows how it just wants you every day to crank stuff out, crank up as much content as possible. And so there's kind of that stress of like, oh, I need to keep doing stuff out. I gotta, feed the machine in a sense. So I think that's great. That you kind of said like, no, like I do this for fun. Like this is how I express myself. I don't need to be forced to do commissions or anything. Um, and personally, I'm in college too. I just graduated with my bachelor's, and I'm currently in my master's program for business management, is
Ooh.
what my bachelor's was, and my master's is digital marketing. And so I hope to go into like work for a fashion company or like music manager or something like that in the future. So my degree is kind of uh, art related, I guess. Um, but one of my favorite subjects that I've taken, and one of my favorite professors was one of my psychology teachers, like my first year or my first college class ever. And yeah, I mean, while it's not my major, I almost thought about minoring in psychology, which I know is a little bit different than psychiatry, but I don't know. I also think it's really interesting of how people think, why people do things that they do. So it's kind of cool to get your perspective on that, and how that's kind of your main, I guess, goal and what you want to do. And you just kind of do art, for fun to express yourself. It doesn't have to be a brand or, it doesn't have to go into all this kind of stuff. It can just be something you do on the side for fun. So that's really cool. Like that you put it that way.
Yeah, I think it's important that people know that. You know, you can
hmm
take your art in any kind of direction you want. If you're really, really passionate about it and you really want to make a career out of it, go for it. But if the stress is too much and you feel like you need to go up to this sort of expectation, then just don't do it. Just do what's good for you. It doesn't have to be one thing and it doesn't have to be the other. You can, experiment around and do whatever you can to keep art in your life somehow without making it a burden.
Nice. So do you kind of want to walk us through like what's your process? I know you do a lot of digital art. So I'm assuming like an iPad and Procreate, that's what a lot of people use. But do you do physical art as well? Or kind of what's your preferred method?
Well, I've been doing more sketches in some of my empty sketchbooks, which I'm really happy with because I feel like it's important to experiment with different mediums of art. And I originally, as a kid, only did nothing but pencil drawings. So it's nice that I'm getting
Mhm.
back into sketches, and also it gives me something to entertain myself with at school if I don't have any homework, or if my ADHD is going crazy. I need something to distract myself. But yeah, I mostly draw on digital art on Ibis Paint on an iPad
Oh,
Mini
okay.
2. It freaks people out every time I say that because it's literally discount Procreate, but they're just like, what? I also don't use a stylus. This also shocks a lot of
Oh,
people.
okay.
I don't use styluses. It's really difficult for me. I use my fingers on the screen.
Okay.
Um, Well, for my process, you come up with the idea, like anything you're like for me, it's literally anything that I'm thinking about drawing in the moment when I'm not having art block or anything. So,
hmm
yeah, first I was re-listening to Capri songs, so I did a FK Twigs drawing, and then Frank Ocean posts something, and I'm like, I'm gonna draw Frank Ocean next, do that, and I just keep
hmm
jumping from the next thing to the next to the next, just following wherever my heart is currently set and what my hyperfixation is currently at. So it
hmm
satisfies that. And then I kind of plan out in my head, like what the structure should look like, what the character should be doing, what kind of outfit or what kind of perspective do I need to practice for this. And then I get right into the rough draft. and then I fix the lines, and then I fill in the colors, the shading. I do all the cool filters, and then all of the special effects, and then I do the white lines, and then I post it to the gram, and sometimes to the TikTok. And yee.
Mhm. That's interesting. I definitely would not have guessed that you did it with your finger. That's actually the same thing for the first interview um, that I did with an artist called, or used to go by Dirty Face. He's actually the one that made the logo. He does all of his art, all of his digital art on his phone with his finger. And at that time, I didn't realize like anybody did finger art like that. So it's kind of interesting because I never would have guessed at all. I would have guessed an iPad, but I definitely would have guessed a stylus. But that's cool because it kind of shows like, you know, what you can do. Like it might take a learning curve for some people more than others, but you don't need a stylus and you can still create art at the same quality that you're pushing out.
Yeah, it's just what makes you comfortable, right?
Definitely, definitely. And I mean, just like everything, it takes time to learn how to correctly use a stylus. So I mean, same thing
Mhm.
with a finger, you know, it just takes a little bit of patience. Um, and obviously, like you said, like you just prefer that way. A stylus is more difficult, so that's kind of interesting. And then you also kind of talked about different rappers and Frank Ocean and other musicians. Can you talk about a little bit? I know you collect vinyl and stuff, so you kind of talk about how music plays a role in your life and your art as well.
Oh my gosh, music. Music is like everything to me. It's
Mhm,
such a unique and gorgeous art form. Um, I just love how big and diverse the world of music is and how different sounds can be played in so many different ways and contexts, and how stories can be written in like such gorgeous ways and play out so harmonically over, a set of guitars or some synths or some 808s or whatever the hell you can throw together. It's just so cool listening to different types of genres, different types of artists with backgrounds and lyrical themes, and just seeing the worlds that they build around themselves. And I just get so
mhm,
invested in it. Um, as a kid, I would listen, my parents are like major rock heads. So, we
mhm,
listen to Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and Pink Floyd, which is my favorite rock band.
mhm,
Tragically Hip. We listened to, like, I grew up listening to music, and I grew up connecting to music on the radio and on the stereo. And I feel like with the pandemic, music has just helped me so much. And
mhm.
it, like, a lot of albums that dropped that year, like, really helped me pass the time. And it just helps grounds me whenever, like, I can't go a day without listening to music. It helps me
Mhm.
focus in class. It helps me draw and come up with ideas. It helps me sleep sometimes. It just helps drift me into a different world and state, and it makes me feel more comfortable, and I feel like the world is more colorful because we have music in it.
That's very well put. Um, I gotta ask, what is, if you could recommend one album, any album, for someone to listen to, whether it be recent, just something you've been listening to a lot recently, or one of your favorites, what album would you listen to? The listeners of this episode go check out right now.
Oh man. Man, there's so many I want to suggest.
Mhm. Say yeah, I mean you can pick a few, you know.
Let me think. What have I really been listening to lately? I've been listening. Oh, yeah, that KC EP. I can't remember the name of it, but
Oh. Mhm.
Gustaffelstein did the production on that. And it's just
Mhm.
so interesting. Like a mix of like 90s and 80s synth wave, like under his like trap style ad libs and voice. Casey's voice is just so
Mhm.
interesting to me. And it's a very unique sound if nobody's listened to it. Spiritualize is this indie kraut rock band, and their newest album, Everything Was Beautiful, I've been really enjoying. They haven't put out an album in a pretty long time, and this one I got it on vinyl, and it just sounds absolutely stunning. What else do I suggest people listen to? Oh, definitely Lingua Ignota. If you're a metal fan or you like abrasive noise or hardcore stuff, this has like a dramatic, like, Sinner Get Ready. That album has a Catholic edge to it. It's gritty.
Hmm.
It's heart wrenching. It makes me fall apart every time I listen to it. Those are just a couple of the albums I listen to. Um, and if you are at all interested at like the rest of the music I listen to on my Instagram, I do highlight on my stories what music I would currently be listening to at that time, and you can be feel free to try it out for yourself. I'm down to listen to any artists that you suggest towards my way, whether they're big or small. I just love music. I want to listen to all the music in the whole wide world.
Nice. So yeah, I've been meaning to listen to that KC EP. It came out like a little while ago, and I completely forgot about it. So I'll definitely be adding that. I typed it up on Spotify here. I'll probably be listening to that later. Because I think Casey's a really interesting up and coming artist. I really like his sound, so I'm definitely interested in where he'll go in the future. Me personally, I kind of grew up listening to a lot of oldies with my grandparents, a lot of like hard rock and metal with my dad, and then a lot of rap with my mom. And so I like a lot of genres. Like, I mean, I'll listen to pretty much anything, um, but definitely like my Spotify end of the year is like rap, hip hop, underground hip hop, trap hip hop. So I definitely need to expand a little bit more on what I listen to frequently. Um, but since I don't know, since rap is more my forte and what I know more about, I'm just curious, what are some of your favorite hip hop albums?
Let me think. Oh man, I recently got this on vinyl too. Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition. It's a
Mm-hmm.
classic. I love it
Mm-hmm.
so much. Definitely some Kendrick. Anything from Kendrick is really
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, Jid's new album. Oh my god, it's amazing.
I still need to finish it. I've only listened to about a little less than half of it. I was listening to it earlier today, but that's one that's like at the top of my list. I need to finish.
I know, that's what I'm like so happy about. Like the album is so lengthy, but it's so gratifying the entire time you listen to it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
bangers on bangers on bangers.
Mm-hmm.
What else? MF Doom, food.
Oh,
It's an
oh,
essential, man. Uh,
excellent, excellent.
what else? What other hip hop albums have I been listening to a lot of? Hmm, let me think. Hmm. Oh, I've been listening to some Midwest as well. The
Mm-hmm.
production's very interesting because he like does these melodic trap vocals and stuff on over top some hyper pop instrumentals.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
So yeah, I think I saw he just released like a project or EP like just or last week or something. So I've been meaning to check it out. I saw a snippet earlier today and it sounded really cool because yeah, it was like melodic over like a hyper pop, and I was like, whoa, this sounds awesome. So I definitely that's on my list as well too. Um, so we kind of talked about how music played a role, some of your favorite albums, but what do you do? What do you like to do when you're not creating art or listening to music?
Well, I like to spend time with my friends in any way that I can. Since I live in Canada, it's boiling hot outside. Sometimes if the weather's nice, I go outside and just enjoy the sights and the sounds of the outdoor world around me. Um, I sometimes I sew. I'm kind of thinking about getting into a sewing project this
Nice.
um this year, which I'm
Mhm.
pretty excited about. I play video games, I watch YouTube, I spend time with my lizard. I just try my best to find ways to entertain my poor brain, or else I get bored really easily.
Mhm.
I also play piano.
Oh, nice, nice. I took some piano classes when I was in community college my first 2 years. For like 3 semesters, I took like just beginning piano or something for fun, and I enjoyed it. And I had like a little piano at home that my cousin gave me, that I could practice on. But I don't know, I would just never practice.
Mm.
So, and then COVID hit, and so
Oh
then
no.
and then you'd think like, oh, now I have all the time in the world to learn. I did not play piano, so I have pretty much completely forgotten. I could probably tell you what notes are which, but other than that, I've lost. any of the little skill that I had. I mean, that's cool. I do want to learn to play an instrument in the future. I used to play saxophone in middle school. I was pretty decent, but definitely could not play a single note on the saxophone nowadays. But hopefully in the future, maybe pick up a little piano or something, just for fun, to kind of do something to do, learn a new skill.
Yeah, I've been playing piano for almost 10 years, so
Oh wow. Hmm.
I really love the instrument. Also, it's because I have such skinny fingers, so I'm naturally built for playing piano, so that also kind of
Hmm.
helps.
So I'm just curious. I know you said, we kind of talked about you wanting to, be a psychiatrist and art is kind of like a side thing. But is there any like company or artist, musician, someone that you would like to work with in the future?
Hmm. I'm currently working on a collab with two of my art besties right now. I'm just waiting on one
Hmm.
of them to finish some art stuff so that way we can work on it together as a team. So that's what I'm really excited about. And I don't know. Um I've I feel like I'm just gonna keep drawing for myself mostly, but if the
Hmm.
opportunity comes when one of my favorite artists, or if I like tag them or something, if they ever get the chance to ask me to do something for them, maybe I will.
Nice. And I'm also curious, I don't think you have made any, I might be wrong, but in the future, do you ever want to create any kind of like physical products? I mean, shirts or stickers or anything in particular? Are you interested in that, or you just want to strictly keep it to, just posting your art?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me about that. They ask me if I can make like shirts, merch, stickers, and all that.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. I have a friend of mine who has like an online store. She also draws and she makes products out of her art. And
Hmm.
like she's doing fantastic at it, but I can tell that it's like really time consuming and it's
Hmm.
a lot of resources, a lot of money, and I mostly want to invest in school. So I'm not
Hmm.
sure if it's for me. So I think I'm okay.
So yeah, it definitely can be uh kind of a big headache and it can be pretty difficult because eventually I want to make like merch for the podcast and have cool little stuff, make stickers, but I'm kind of pushing that until sometime next year because yeah, I don't really know how to get started on that, how to, not make it like crazy expensive and to not buy 500 shirts and then sell 10. So yeah, I definitely feel you there. It can be something pretty difficult that currently I have no idea how to do, but in the future, hopefully I'll get it somewhat figured out. But then, I mean, you kind of talked about you have like two collabs coming up. Is there anything, I guess, any posts you're excited about or art pieces, non-art endeavors, anything that you're kind of excited about that'll happen this year, early next year?
Yeah, so so first of all, um the show Hell of a Boss on YouTube, I will be posting fan art of that really soon. I actually just finished drawing it, so that might
Nice.
be posted the time of this interview. um Also, I am my birthday is on Sunday, so I might do a self-portrait. And this is like way far ahead in October, but in October, I'm planning to draw nothing but like Halloween themed artists that I really like listening
Nice.
to get in a spooky mood. Like, you're clipping, you're 21 Savage.
Hmm.
Let me think. Soul Glow, Death Grips, just like get in that Halloweeny spooky mood. So that's what I'm like really looking forward to. And I don't know, we'll see what September brings me to, wherever my inspiration goes.
Nice. Well, happy early birthday. Kind of start to wrap it up here. Lastly, what would you, to any aspiring artists, whether they be digital artists, designers, musicians, what advice would you give someone that wants to create art?
First of all, don't be hard on yourself. The last thing you want is, you're in the creative process and you just keep being stubborn and hard on yourself. Like, oh, this didn't get that many likes. Oh, this didn't turn out the way that I pictured it. Oh, this is, not the end product I want. Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm not as good as this person, not as good as that. there's always time and there's always some place where mentally where you'll be ready to do that. There is always a time where you will achieve those as long as you keep being optimistic, you take breaks when you're feeling overwhelmed and those feelings of, anxiety, sadness. Don't force yourself to draw when you're having art block, or if you're feeling sad or stubborn, it is the worst thing in the world. What else? Don't give up and practice. Even though it may seem like or feel like you're going nowhere, you're like practicing sketching and stuff, you're actually learning a lot because of the mistakes you're making. And I feel
Mhm.
like what people forget is that mistakes lead to, like resolving problems and figuring
Mhm.
out, oh, how can I work around this? How can I practice this? Oh, there's this flaw. Maybe I should work on developing that. It's about recognizing the flaws and doing what you can to work your way around it. There's nothing wrong with messing up, and there's nothing wrong with not being perfect at the first try. And
Mhm.
there are plenty of times where I try to get drawings right the first time, but it's not that great. So you got to scrap it and just keep moving on with the next project and go on and on. And I think the most important thing is always do what you want to do. Do what you feel like is the best for you to strive for, what really makes you so passionate about art. Like, get in that headspace, do whatever you can to experiment and fool around. Do whatever is you, whatever that may be. Expressing yourself, even though it might be like very different and not a lot of people might take it well, just try it out. See if it works for you and makes you happy. And if it doesn't, you can keep working on it. I find that, the biggest and most important thing about my art is the passion that I have for it, and also that my fans and my followers have for it. Like, I have some followers that have been with me since day 1, which is insane. And it knowing that there are people out there that appreciate the effort that I put into making these pieces, even though it's not as much as it used to be, just knowing that, like, at least like some people take time out of their day to just look at my art is just so gratifying to me. And I feel like it makes me feel more passionate about what I do because it makes other people happy as well. And yeah.
All right. And then lastly, you can go ahead and plug your socials and any final thoughts that you want to say.
All right, sure thing. Okay, so again, like I said, I have an Instagram. That's where I post most of my art, and that's where I engage most with my community. It's at that.gucci.bucket.hat, and there's periods in between each word. And it's the same at for my TikTok account. It should be the first thing that pops up. And if you want to get involved in art at all, if you just want to talk to me and get to know me, or if you're interested in my art or who I am, you can give me a follow there, or you can just DM me and say, "What's up? I heard this interview. You seem cool." I'm always down to communicate and engage with people who like the same things that I do. And I'm just so lucky that I get to do this on such cool platforms and stuff. So, yeah, feel free to come talk to me anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time out to come on the show, and I can't wait to see what you have coming next.
Yeah, same for you, man. It's been an honor going on here, honestly.